In this video, we're going to be converting iterables to tuples and do so with the tuple constructor. So we've used other constructors before, like the list constructor, the range constructor, even the int constructor, the string constructor. So this is just an alternate way of taking another item and converting it to a tuple. One thing to note is that that other item must be an iterable. So in this video, we're going to see a list, string, and range object converted to a tuple. So let's say we have some list over here. We'll have a bunch of different items in it. So maybe a integer, a string, maybe a float, maybe even another tuple like this. So the last item here is a tuple of integers, and I need the parentheses here to avoid ambiguity. All right, so to create a tuple, we just pass in this new object, so this list, into the tuple constructor, and it should turn green. If I press Shift Tab Tab, it says, tells us that we need to pass it in an iterable like this. And now I've converted this list into a tuple. All right, great. We can just verify that in fact we do have a tuple like this. All right, so a string is another type of iterable where you can iterate through each one of the characters. So this time we'll go straight into the tuple constructor and we'll just say, all right, this string Python, we can pass it in there. And so each individual character is now an item in the tuple. So this is now a 6-item tuple of strings. Each of the strings is a 1-character string. And we can also convert a range object to a tuple. So let's just think about, maybe go from 10 to 50 by 5. We'll save this to R. If we look at this, it's just going to print it out. Remember, range objects, it doesn't display the entire range until it is needed. It just creates the sequence of that using start, stop, and step. So if we pass in the range object to the tuple constructor, it will go ahead and iterate through each one of those items in that range, each one of those integers. And here now we've created a tuple of integers going from the start to the stop, skipping by 5, stepping by 5. All right, so that's just some examples of using the tuple constructor. If you put nothing in here, you can see that by default, it will create an empty tuple. So this is just another way to create an empty tuple. You just need parentheses. So usually you just see it. If you ever need to create an empty tuple, which is actually a rare situation, just open and close parentheses. But this is just what will happen by default if you use the tuple constructor. All right, so that wraps it up using the tuple constructor to convert iterables to tuples.